Welcome back, dear learners, to the course on Essentials of Financial Management. This is week 4, lecture number 18, Financial Break-Even Point. If you can recall, in lecture 17, we continued about the concept of leverages, emphasizing on the significance of financial leverage and the few questions on financial leverage. Right. Now, in this lecture, we are going to discuss about what is financial break-even point and some practical questions on financial leverage also. So, what is financial break-even point? It is the level of EBIT which is just equal to pay the total financial charges, that is interest and preference dividend. So, it is that level of EBIT which is just sufficient enough to pay the financial charges. Let us say the company has employed debt in its capital structure. So, the amount of interest that the company has to pay, the EBIT level should be like that, or the company has also issued preference share capital. So, it should be equal to the preference dividend that the company has to pay, right. At this point or level of EBIT, the earnings per share equals 0. So, this is the interesting thing. At this level of EBIT, the EPS is 0, because the company is just making that level of EBIT that is just sufficient to make interest payment, right. The company's earnings are just enough to cover its fixed financial charges, such as it can be interest expense on debt or it can be preference dividends. We have different formulas for calculating both, we will discuss it. It is a critical point in planning the capital structure of a firm, the proportion of debt and equity that the company wants to have in its capital structure. When EBIT is less than the financial break-even point, the EPS shall be negative. So, whenever a company has an EBIT which is less than the financial break-even point, let us say the financial break-even point is rupees 1 lakh and the company has an EBIT of 90,000. So, in that case the EPS will be negative. So, company should be using more of equity and less of debt. And when EBIT is more than financial break-even point, the EPS shall be positive. So, let us say you can say the financial break-even point is 1 lakh and the EBIT is 1 lakh 10,000 or 1 lakh 20,000. In that case, the earnings per share will be positive. So, we can now look at the formula for calculating the financial break-even point. So, there can be two cases. The first one is when the capital structure consists of equity share capital and debt capital only, and there are no preference share employed by the company, right. That means only equity and debt is there and there is no preference share. So, we have a different formula. When company also issues preference shares, the formula changes slightly. The first one is financial break-even point equals to fixed interest charges. Very simple. Let us say company has issued debentures of rupees 10 lakhs, right, and the rate of interest on debentures is 10%. So, the interest charges are rupees 1 lakh. So, it will be the break-even point, the financial break-even point will be 1 lakh, that is equals to the fixed interest charges. Formula number 2, when the capital structure consists of equity share capital, preference share capital and debt. Now, preference share also comes into the picture. Now, what would be the formula? Here the financial break-even point will be interest expenses, because you already have debt and capital. So, that will be there, plus you will be adding preference dividends which will be divided by 1 minus tax rate. So, the formula is I represents the interest expense, PD represents the preference dividend and it is divided by 1 minus T, where T represents the tax rate. As dividend on preference share capital is payable out of the earnings after taxes, so there is the inclusion of T in this formula, because you are paying the taxes and after that you are paying preference dividend. So, this formula is used. What are the key considerations? The financial break-even point is influenced by the company's capital structure, particularly the amount of debt and preferred stock. If you look at this formula, the financial break-even point is influenced by the company's capital structure, that is the amount of debt. If the amount of debt is more, the company will be paying more interest expense. So, obviously, the financial break-even point will go up. And the preferred stock, let us say the company is paying more amount of preference dividend also. So, in that case also the financial break-even point will go up. Changes in interest rates or tax rates can also affect the financial break-even point. If interest rate go high, then the fixed interest charges will also go up. In that case, the financial break-even point will go up. And let us say if the tax rates increase, what will happen? Let us say here if the tax rate increase, then this fraction will increase, right. If the tax rate will increase, this will be decreasing this portion, and this fraction, that is PD divided by 1 minus T, will increase. As a result, the financial break-even point will also increase. It is important to analyze the financial break-even point in conjunction with another financial metric such as the degree of financial leverage, the profitability ratios, to get a comprehensive view of the company's financial position. So, whenever we are talking about the financial break-even point, it should not be looked in isolation. It should be taken along with the degree of financial leverage, the various profitability ratios, to get a better picture, to get a more comprehensive picture about the overall financial health of an organization. Now, let us do one question to understand this. A firm has two alternative plans for raising additional funds of rupees 10 lakhs, right. First is issue 10,000 debentures of rupees 100 each bearing 10% interest per annum, that is the first plan. The second one is issue 4,000 debentures of rupees 100 each bearing 10% interest per annum, and the balance, what is the balance? The balance is how much? The balance by issue of 12% preference shares, right. You are required to calculate the financial break-even point for each plan assuming a tax rate of 50%. So, let us first talk about plan 1. As the firm employs only debt and not preference share capital, the financial break-even point shall be equal to the fixed interest charges. In the first plan, the company is not using any preference share capital. So, we are using the debt, and it will the financial break-even point will be equals to the fixed interest charges. So, here the fixed interest charges how much? It is 10,000 into 100. 10,000 is the debenture and each cost rupees 100. So, 10,000 into 100, and the rate of interest on debenture is 10%. So, the financial break-even point or the fixed interest charges comes out to be 1 lakh when there is no preference capital. In plan 2, as the firm employs both debt and preference share capital, the financial break-even point can be calculated as. Now, in the second case, the firm is using debt as well as preference share capital. So, we will use a different formula here. So, what is the formula for financial break-even point? In this case, it can be calculated with the help of fixed interest charges, and you need to add preference dividend, which should be divided by 1 minus tax rate. So, I comes out to be 4,000 into 100 at the rate of 10%, right. It uses 4,000 debentures rupees 100 at the rate of 10%, and you need to add preference dividend is how much? Company is using a preference share capital of rupees 6 lakh and the rate of dividend is 12%. So, 6 lakh into 12%, which will be divided by 1 minus 0.50 because tax rate is given as 50%. So, I comes out to be 40,000, whereas the second fraction comes out to be 1,44,000, and if you add both these, you get 1,84,000. So, financial break-even point for the first case when there is no preference share and only debentures, it is 1 lakh. For the second case when there are debentures as well as preference share capital, it is 1,84,000. Okay. Now, let us do the second question. Calculate earnings per share of ABC Limited and XYZ Limited assuming 20% before tax rate of return on assets, this is the first case, and 10% before tax rate of return on assets, this is the second case, and this is based on the following data. There are two companies ABC Limited and XYZ Limited, right. Now, if you look at the assets, these all values are given in rupees lakhs. So, for ABC Limited the assets are 200 lakhs and for XYZ it is 200 lakhs. If you talk about the debt which is available at the rate of 12%, So, ABC Limited is not using any debt, whereas XYZ Limited is a levered firm and it is using 100 lakhs of debt. As far as the equity is concerned, ABC is using 200 lakhs of equity capital and XYZ is using 100 lakhs of equity capital. Shares of rupees 10 each for both the companies. Assume a 50% corporate tax in both cases. Also give your comments on financial leverage. Now, if you look at this question closely, we have already discussed several times whenever we have any question related to capital structure or any question related to leverage, the starting point is earnings before interest and taxes. We look for this EBIT value in all the questions, but if you look the question here, directly you are not given the EBIT value, but you have been given the things from where we can calculate EBIT. So, how we can calculate this? Assets are purchased by utilizing the funds raised from debt and equity, and return on these assets is EBIT. So, any company purchases assets, and how it purchases assets? By utilizing the funds which it raises from debentures and equity. By issuing debentures and equity, whatever amount it raises, using that amount it purchases assets, and return on these assets is nothing but the earnings before interest and taxes. So, in this way we can calculate EBIT here. So, calculation of EPS for both the cases, for ABC Limited and for XYZ Limited, all the values are in rupees lakhs. So, earnings before interest and taxes, when the first case we are talking, when there is 20% before tax rate of return on assets and 10% before tax rate of return. So, assets are 200 lakhs for both the companies. So, 20% of 200 is 40 lakhs and 10% of 200 is 20 lakhs. Similarly, 20% of 200 is 40 and 10% of 200 is 20. These all figures are in lakhs. So, we got the values of EBIT. I think now the rest of the portion is as simple as we have done similar kind of questions in previous classes also. So, now what we do is we deduct interest, and interest is given at 12% on debt. As you know, company ABC is not employing any debt, it is employing a debt of how much? Of 100 lakhs at the rate of 12%. So, 100 into 0.12 comes out to be 12 lakhs, right. Now, we have deducted the interest. Now, what we need to find out? We need to find out earnings before tax, that is EBT, and how we can calculate this? EBIT minus I will give us EBT. So, there is no interest in ABC Limited. So, these values will remain intact, whereas 40 minus 12 gives you 28 and 20 minus 12 gives you 8. These all figures are in lakhs. Tax rate is given as 50%. So, you just halve this. Now, here you need to pay a 20 lakhs of tax, it is 10 lakhs. In XYZ Limited it is 4 lakhs, 14 lakhs and 4 lakhs. So, earnings after tax for ABC Limited when 20% is there. So, it is 20 lakhs, here it is 10 lakhs for 10%, for 20% it is 14 lakhs, for 10% it is 4 lakhs. Number of equity shares in lakhs. So, if you look, shares of rupees 10 each, right. So, you divide the you can find it this as these are the number of equity shares is 20 lakhs for ABC and 10 lakhs for XYZ Limited. If you divide equity capital, that is 200 lakhs by 10, you get 20 lakhs, right. Okay. Now, earnings per share is earnings after taxes, and you divide this by the number of equity shares. So, for ABC Limited you get this as 1 when that is 20% and 0.50 when there is 10% before tax rate of return. Similarly, for XYZ Limited when there is 20% return, it is 1.40, when it is 10% return it is 0.40, right. So, if you see the interpretation part, XYZ Limited has used debt in its financing. As such, when the rate of return is 20%, that is higher than the cost of debt, its EPS is higher than that of ABC Limited, which does not use any debt. But when the financial leverage is unfavorable at 10% rate of return, the cost of debt is higher, there is a negative impact of leverage and EPS decreases. If you go back to the question, if you see the cost of debt is 12%, right. And if we talk about case A, that is return is 20%. This is a favorable case of leverage because rate of return is 20% and cost of debt is 12%. But if we talk about the 10% case, cost of debt remains at 10% and cost of debt remained at 12%, but the rate of return is 10%. So, it is an unfavorable case of leverage. So, if we see the leveraged firm, that is XYZ Limited, when the rate of return was more, you see the EPS was 1.40, whereas for ABC Limited it was just 1. But when it is a case of unfavorable leverage, right, you see there is a drop, significant drop in earnings per share from 1.40 to 0.40, whereas for the company which was not using debt, the drop is there, but that is not as significant as in case of the company XYZ, right. Let us continue. XYZ Company Limited is considering 3 different plans to finance its total project, which costs rupees 100 lakhs. Now, what are these? They are the financial plans are plan A, plan B and plan C, right. All these figures are in lakhs. So, debenture is available at 8% per annum, and for plan A it is 50 lakhs, for plan B it is 66 lakhs, plan C it is 75 lakhs. Equity shares available at rupees 100 each, for plan A it is 50, for plan B it is 34, for plan C it is 25. So, total is 100, right, it is given in the question. Sales of the first 3 years are estimated at rupees 100 lakhs, rupees 125 lakhs, rupees 150 lakhs, and a 10% profits before interest and taxes has been forecasted. Corporate taxation is to be taken at 50%. Compute earnings per share in each of the alternative plans of financing for 3 years, right. So, now we can calculate the earnings per share. We have plan A, plan B and plan C. There are 3 years, year 1, year 2, year 3. So, it has been given that the sales of the first 3 years are estimated at 100 lakhs, 125 lakhs and 150 lakhs, and there is a 10% profits before interest and taxes. So, 10% of 100 lakhs is 10 lakhs, 10% of 125 is 12.5 lakhs and 10% of 150 lakhs is 15 lakhs. We can use these values. So, you can see 10 lakhs, 12.5 lakhs and 15 lakhs. This will be same for plan A, plan B and plan C. Now, what we do? We deduct the interest at the rate of 8%. So, 50 into 8, that is 4 lakhs, right, all 3 years, then 66 lakhs into 8%, then 75 lakhs into 8% for plan C, right. We can calculate earnings before taxes. How it is calculated? We deduct interest from EBIT. This comes out to be 6 lakhs, 8.5 lakhs, 11 lakhs. This comes out to be 4.72, 7.22, 9.72, and finally for plan C it is 4 lakhs, 6.5 lakhs and 9 lakhs. Tax is given as 50%. So, for plan A it is 3 lakhs, 4.25 lakhs and 5.5 lakhs. For plan B it is 2.36 lakhs, 3.61 lakhs and 4.86 lakhs. For plan C it is 2 lakhs, 3.25 lakhs and 4.5 lakhs. So, similarly you can calculate the earnings after taxes. The number of equity shares for plan A it is 50,000, for plan B it is 34,000 and plan C it is 25,000. You can easily calculate, it is given equity share in plan A is 50, 34 for plan B and 25 for plan C, right, rupees 100 each. So, using these we can calculate the earnings per share. It is calculated as earnings after taxes divided by n. So, for plan A it is 6, rupees 8.50 and rupees 11. For plan B it is 6.94, 10.62 and 14.29. For plan C it is 8, 13 and 18, right. So, now I think we can do one more question. A company's capital structure consists of the following: equity share of rupees 100 each. So, this amounts to 20 lakhs, retained earnings amounts to 10 lakhs, 9% preference shares, that is 12 lakhs and 7% debentures, it is 8 lakhs. So, total is 50 lakhs. company earns 12% of its capital, the corporate tax rate is 50%, the company requires a sum of rupees 25 lakhs to finance its expansion program, for which the following alternatives are available. Alternative 1, it issues 20,000 equity shares at a premium of 25 per share. Plan B is issue of 10% preference shares, and plan C is issue of 8% debentures. It is estimated that the PE ratios in the cases of equity, preference and debenture financing would be 21.4, 17 and 15.7 respectively. Now, what we need to calculate is which of the three financing alternatives would be recommended and what is the reason for this, right. So, plan 1, that is alternative 1 is equity shares, alternative 2 is 10% preference shares, and alternative 3 is 8% debentures. We always start these kind of questions with earnings before interest and taxes. So, how we calculate this? Earnings before interest and taxes is 12% on 50 lakhs plus 25 lakhs, this is 75 lakhs. So, 12% of 75 lakhs is 9 lakhs for all the three cases. We deduct the interest, that is interest on old 7% debentures, it is 8 lakh of debentures at the rate of 7% is 56,000, and for all the three cases. Now, deduct interest on new 8% debentures, that is for the plan 3, 25 lakhs debentures at the rate of 8% is 2 lakhs, right. You can calculate earnings before tax, and how it can be calculated? EBIT minus the interest, that is I1 and I2. So, this comes out to be 8,44,000 for plan 1 and 2 and 6,44,000 for plan 3. Tax is given as at the rate of 50%. So, for plan 1 it is 4,22,000, for plan B it is 4,22,000, and for plan 3 it is 3,22,000. Similarly, you can calculate the earnings after taxes, it is 4,22,000 for plan 1, 4,22,000 for plan 2 and 3,22,000 for plan 3. Dividend paid on old 9% preference shares. So, 12 lakhs of preference share capital at the rate of 9%, this comes out to be 1,08,000. Similarly, for plan 2 it is 1,08,000 and plan 3 it is also 1,08,000. Less dividend on new 10% preference share, this is only for plan 2, this is 25 lakhs of preference capital at the rate of 10%, this comes out to be 2,50,000. So, the earnings available for equity shareholders is you deduct or the preference dividend. For plan 1 it is 3,14,000, for plan 2 it is 64,000, for plan 3 it is 2,14,000. Number of equity shares is 40,000 for plan 1, 20,000 for plan 2 and 20,000 for plan 3. EPS you can calculate 7.85 for plan 1, 3.2 for plan 2 and 10.7 for plan 3. PE ratio is given in the question 21.4, 17 and 15.7. You can easily calculate the market price per share, which is the combination of EPS into PE ratio. For plan 1 this comes out to be rupees 167.99, plan 2 is 54.40 and plan 3 is 167.99. So, you can see the probable market share is same in alternative 1 and 3, but when you compare the earnings per share, it is highest in alternative 3. Therefore, alternative 3 which issues 8% debentures should be preferred. So, these are the list of the books which you can go through to have a better understanding of the concepts. Thank you so much.